Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're fine. Here's your teacher, and today we are going to talk a little bit about grammar, of course. And I want to clarify something. A lot of students they come to me and they say, "Oh, teacher, I don't like studying grammar. What can I do?" Um, for those students, I try to say, okay, you need to get used to the idea that grammar is important. Why is grammar important, teacher? Uh, think, uh, think this way. Every time we are speaking, we need to transform our thoughts into words, and those words must make sense to somebody who's listening. And each language has a mechanism, and that's what grammar does. Grammar studies the mechanisms. So it's impossible to learn a new language without studying grammar. Of course, this doesn't mean that if you study a lot of grammar, you will speak English. I'm not saying that. It's quite impossible if you only study English and you want to be fluent in English. That is going to be a little impossible for you. Maybe you'll be able to speak some sentences, to say some sentences, but they are not going to be fluent sentences, and people will understand that. But anyways, what you've got to do is you need to study grammar and you need to have a lot of exposure to that content. So that's why watching movies in English or listening to songs in English or even traveling is a good option. They are all good options if you want to really improve your language skills. But of course, you also need to study grammar. Anyways, that was just an introduction. So if you don't like grammar, I invite you to at least start considering it as something fun, because if you make it something fun, it's going to be way more fun for you to study it. But okay, let's get to the point. Now it's 7 o'clock in the morning, it is 7 a.m., and I am working. It is 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 a.m. and I am working. I want you to repeat this sentence after me. And I will pause so you can check your pronunciation. So it is 7 a.m. It is 7 a.m. and I am working. It is 7 a.m. and I am working. Repeat that. Yes, almost that. Let's get to letter B now. My husband is traveling this week. Repeat after me. My husband is traveling this week. My husband is traveling this week. Letter C. My parents are coming over tonight. My parents are coming over tonight. Your turn. My parents are coming over tonight. Perfect. Very good. And finally, letter D. Summers are getting hotter and hotter. If you prefer British pronunciation, you could say summers are getting hotter and hotter. It's up to you. Okay? I myself, I'm more used to dealing with American pronunciation. That's why I'm using hotter and hotter. Okay, all these four sentences, they have something in common. They have a verb tense in common, and we are going to enter deeply. We're going to go deeply a little bit on this verb tense today. But before talking about the structures and the old grammar, I want to invite you to look at this as a functional grammar. We have some situations here. And all of these sentences, they can be categorized into these situations that are on the right of the board. Look at the situations that I have. Gradual change, number 2. Near future, number 3. Temporary action, and number 4. Right now. I invite you to think a little bit, and I want you to try to match. You know the meaning of match? Match. In Portuguese, match means relacionar as a verb, of course. And another reason for you to study grammar is that if you don't know that this verb has a meaning as a verb, which is relacionar, and also that this same word has a meaning as a noun, for example, which is totally different. For example, as a noun substantivo in Portuguese, we have fósforo. Fósforo. So you see, this is why you should study grammar, so you can know the difference between using the same word as a verb, meaning relacionar, and using the same word as a noun, meaning fósforo. Okay? I hope this is enough for you to understand, wow, grammar is necessary. But okay, you have to match. So I am using verb match as relacionar, okay? So match these sentences here on the left with their respective explanations or their respective functions. Let's see. I'll give you some time to think a little bit while I erase match. So, yes, you got the answer? Let's check. It is 7 a.m. right now, and I am working. It is 7 a.m. and I'm working. What am I expressing with this sentence? I am expressing an action happening right now. Right now. Number 4. Right now, I am working. Letter B. My husband is traveling this week. Okay, this week expresses a gradual change. I don't think so. Does it express a near future? This week. Today is Thursday. So I'm in the middle of the week. The week is already happening. If I wanted to talk about the future, I would say next week. I'm talking about this week. So it's not near future. Oh, it's the temporary action. Of course, this week. This week is temporary. It means it will finish. On Sunday or on Saturday, at midnight, the week will change, and then we will have another week. Another week will start. So this letter B can be categorized into a temporary action. Okay, a temporary action. Letter C. My parents are coming over. Sorry, let's do it again. My parents are coming over tonight. My parents are coming over tonight. Now it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Tonight is today, but it's future, isn't it? And it's very near. Okay, so this expresses a near future. And finally, let's take a look at letter D. Summers are getting hotter and hotter. You see that now what I'm expressing as is last summer was not very hot. This summer is hotter. Probably the next summer will be hotter and hotter and hotter. So I am talking about a gradual change. The weather is getting hotter and hotter. So this is a gradual change. But Hannah, tell me, please, why are you doing this? I am doing this and I lost my blue marker. But I'm doing this to show you that we use this verb tense here to talk about gradual change in the present, something happening in the near future, or to express a temporary action, or to express something happening right now. My question is, do you already know the name of this verb tense? Yeah, it starts with P, and then we have present, which is present. And there are two names. We can refer to this structure here as present continuous, okay? Or if you want to sound a little fancier or more elegant, you could say that this is present progressive. When we are learning verb tense, there are always two questions that you have got to ask yourself. The first is, in which situations do I use this verb tense? In which situations? Ask yourself, in which situations do I use this verb tense? Oh, the answer to this question is here. We use present continuous to talk about something happening right now, a temporary action, to talk about something in the near future, and to talk about gradual changes in the present. These are the reasons and the situations in which you have to use present continuous. And the other question you should ask yourself is how to use this. How to use it. And in this question, we understand that something is missing, and what's missing is the structure. And a lot of students, they have a very wrong vision of grammar because they think that the structure is grammar. The structure is part of grammar. The other part is also understanding on which situations you will use all this grammar, okay? Let's move further. Oh, I found my blue marker. Just a second, I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. Sorry for that. I don't know how to cut videos, you know. I suck at technology, that's why all of this is happening. But I hope you're enjoying or having fun at least and learning. That's the objective. Okay, if we want to understand the structure, we will need to analyze what's happening here in these sentences. And we need to find something that is common to all of these sentences. Okay, something that happens in A, B, C, and D. Let's take a look at the sentences now. It is 7 a.m. and I am working. Wow, I am working has something peculiar. We have verb to be here and we have ing. This sentence I'm not going to consider because this sentence is used just to express the context. So you can understand that right now it's 7 o'clock. This is the sentence that I'm going to work with. Okay? On letter B, we have only one sentence. My husband is traveling this week. Let's see if the pattern repeats. Ing is here, ing is here. Oops, here we have a verb to be. Okay, so it repeats. Let's take a look at letter C. My parents are coming over tonight. We have ing and we have verb to be. And letter D, summers are getting hotter and hotter. We have ing and we have verb to be. What all these sentences are telling me is that if I want to use present continuous, I will need to first analyze if I want to express an affirmative sentence or a negative sentence or a question, an interrogative sentence. This must be clear. All of these sentences, they are affirmative, okay? They are positive. They are not negative and they are not questions. So in the affirmative form, you will always need a subject. Here, I am working. Who is working? I am working. And the second sentence, my husband's traveling this week. Who is traveling this week? My husband. My husband is the subject. My parents are coming over. Who's coming over tonight? Oh, my parents. My parents, subject. Summers are getting hotter and hotter. What is getting hotter and hotter? Oops, summers is my subject. So in all of these sentences, we have a subject, and this is important. There is something peculiar about a subject in English, which is we never omit it, unless the context is strong enough, okay? But for now, we don't omit it. And it's very different from what happens in Portuguese, because in Portuguese, we omit the subject most of the times. So instead of saying, eu estou trabalhando, in Portuguese, we can just say, estou trabalhando. But in English, that doesn't work. You have to use the subject, okay? And sometimes it gets even repetitive because we have to repeat the subject all over and over again. Okay, after that, we'll have verb to be. As the name of this verb tense is present continuous, of course, verb to be must be in the present. What are the three forms of verb to be in the present? If you don't know, search on my YouTube channel. You will see that there is a specific video about verb to be there, okay? But verb to be in the present shows up as three forms. We have am, we have is, and we have are. So in the present continuous, you will need to use one of these forms. Of course, these forms depend on the subject. You see, for the word I use am. For my husband, I use is. For my parents, are. Summers, are. In a general way, we will say that every time we have plural, we'll use are. Okay? But again, if you don't know verb to be, stop this video right now and search for a video about YouTube on my channel. Probably there's a video there. Okay, and after this verb to be, you will need a verb. And this verb will bring along a particle, an ing particle, okay? An ing particle. But observe that this verb here is the most important verb. Because if I just say, I am, and I say, hey, hello student, how are you? I am, bye-bye student. Will you be able to understand what I'm saying? No, probably not. You need this important verb, this main verb. We call it main. And main in Portuguese is the same as principal. Principal. Verbo principal. Main verb. Okay? But alright, this main verb is always in the base form. But Renan, what is a base form? Think like this. All verbs, they can be separated from sentences. For example, in Portuguese, we use this by adding ar, ir, and ear to the verbs, right? Amar, beber, comer, sair. These are verbs in Portuguese. We call it infinitive. 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 In Portuguese, we use ar, ir, and ear, right? Amar, comer, sair. We need that at the end of the verb. But this is in Portuguese. In English, what happens is if we want to use a verb separated from a context, we will use to. So for example, to go means ir. Literally, ir, to go, in the infinitive. Or to eat, comer, also a verb separated from a context. Comer, it's not being used, okay? Perceive that I don't say eu comer, I say eu como in Portuguese, right? So in English, this is the infinitive. If you want to use this along with any of these nouns or subjects or pronouns, you have to cut the to, and by doing this, you have the base form. So this is the base form. Pretty much, we get the base form and we add ing. Okay? And when I do this, I am expressing either a gradual change or a near future, either a temporary action or something happening right now. Okay? But let's say a sentence. Eu estou bebendo café. Let's think about this sentence. The sentence will be eu is my subject. For this letter here, for this word I, we use am. The verb beber is the verb drink, but we don't say to drink because we use the base form. So drinking coffee. I am drinking coffee. But look at this. If I just say I am drinking coffee, and if you don't use anything other than that, it's not possible to understand if you're talking about a gradual change, a near future, temporary action, or right now. Or if something happening right now. That's why you will always need to use a complement here. Complement. And the complement is the word that will show which use of present continuous you are making of. Okay? For example, I could say I am drinking coffee right now, which means, of course, the fourth use of present continuous. But if I say, for example, I am drinking coffee tonight, you see that this complement changed the function. Now I am talking about something happening in the near future, okay? Or, for example, I can say a negative sentence. I am not drinking coffee this week. I don't know, maybe you made a promise or you are on a crazy diet. I am not drinking coffee this week. And now you see that we are not talking about something happening right now. We're not talking about near future. We are describing a temporary action. Okay? So attention to the complement. The complement will change the function, and this is important. All right. This is the affirmative. But we also have the negatives. And what happens in the negative? Okay, subject again. Remember I told you there isn't a sentence without subject in English. Then you will use verb to be in the negative. Let's see if you know verb to be. You will know that each of these can have a specific negative. For example, the negative of am not, the negative of is, isn't, the negative of are, aren't. Okay? After that, again, you will use verb plus this ing plus a complement. Let's think about these sentences in the negative. I am working. The negative, I am not working. My husband is traveling. The negative, my husband isn't traveling. My parents are coming over tonight. The negative, my parents aren't coming over tonight. Aren't, because aren't doesn't exist. Repeat again. Aren't. We don't pronounce this letter E here, okay? And if you're pronouncing it E, you're doing it very ugly. Don't do that. Okay, and summers are getting hotter and hotter. The negative, summers aren't getting hotter and hotter. And the question, what happens in the question? As we are working with verb to be, and of course you already know how to work with verb to be, you will know that every time we have a question, verb to be must precede the subject. So here we will start with verb to be, then we'll have a subject. And after that, again, verb plus ing plus complement. Okay? See, verb to be is before the subject, and again, verb to be and is are. I can also make a negative question, okay? And if you want to use a negative question, you just need to move the negative particle before the subject, and it's pretty much the same, okay? Let's try to transform these sentences in questions. Let's say I hit my head and I don't remember about anything, so I'm asking you, oh, am I working? Am I working? Is my husband traveling? Are my parents coming over tonight? Are summers getting hotter and hotter? We need to make this variation. We need to put verb to be. We need to place verb to be right before the subject. Hold this microphone. Sexy. Okay. Don't forget that in terms of questions, you can have yes, no questions. You know, those questions, these are the questions whose answers are always yes or no. For example, are you drinking coffee? Yes or no. The answer can be either yes or no. But we can also make a WH question or an information question. And if you want to use information questions, you will need to use the WH words. What, where, who, why, blah, blah, blah. But be attentive, because if you have an information question, this information word, this question word as we call it, comes before verb to be. For example, if I want to ask, por que você